The strings in today's video are provided by Diodario, the most consistent strings on planet Earth. Three, two, one. Hello lads and ladies, Brad the Guitologist here. In this video, we're going to look at a couple of guitars from a company called Scarred Guitars. In case you don't know, Scarred Guitars are made by a dude named Sean who has a YouTube channel called Scar My Guitar. I'll put a link up here somewhere if you want to check out his channel and give him a sub. The first guitar he sent me was a couple years back when he was prototyping a new kind of acoustic guitar, which features some pretty extreme design departures from your typical acoustic. Namely, that there are no braces in the guitar whatsoever. And also, the body is completely routed with CNC machinery in two halves. The halves are glued together with a seam on the sides to form the body. Another interesting feature of that guitar is that the bridge uses electric guitar saddles, so you can dial in your intonation and string height perfectly. This also makes adjustments much easier for the layperson. Okay guys, so this is my Scarred Acoustic here, and as you can see, it's got this really unique bridge, really unique bracing on the inside. Really, it doesn't have any bracing. The bracing that it does have is in the form of some raised areas, kind of like bracing, but this whole thing has been CNC'd, so the top part was, if you can imagine this top part as a bowl that's been flipped upside down, it was CNC routed except for the braces that are on the top. You can't see those right now, but there's also some braces that were left on the bottom there, on the back, excuse me, and just a really interesting and unique, different kind of acoustic. And you can see the seam here along the edge. This is how it was put together. Just a really interesting guitar. Like I said, I consulted with them on creating it, kind of giving him some ideas, throwing some ideas back and forth, and he was, you know, I'm not taking any credit really for his work here. This is all his doing. But we did speak for a long time on the phone about it, for lots of phone calls and probably several hours worth of talking back and forth when he was first you know, learning to build these things a couple years back. But yeah, man, proud to have one. I've never gotten around to actually showing this properly on the channel, so glad to have the opportunity to do it today in conjunction with the other one. In true Sean fashion, no strap buttons. No strap buttons, Sean. That's all right. If I wanted one, I could put one on here. Actually, that would be the place for one, probably right down here. There's a good spot for one. But what we're going to do with this one today, actually, it needs a little bit of going over. Now, this has been sitting around for, you know, I've played it on and off, but mainly it's been sitting for a couple of years. And, you know, my main fear on this design was that because of the integrated bracing, I just didn't know how it was going to behave or react to climate changes or what have you. So, you know, I didn't know how it was gonna do over time, if the top was gonna warp, if it was gonna crack, all that stuff. So we're a couple of years on now, and you can see usually most acoustics will have some bellying over time. This one is not really an exception. It's got a little bit maybe, but it's not much. I mean, not much at all. There's a little bit of a tilt to the bridge. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It does have a little bit of a forward kind of a tilt, and maybe a tad of a hump behind it, but it's not pronounced and it's not bad. There's no real bad sinking, as you often see with acoustics right in here. This, I don't know how thick the top is exactly, but the top is slightly thicker than some acoustics. So it's a little bit more of a rigid design to begin with, and has a little bit more mid-range, almost a banjo, not quite a banjo, but sort of a banjo like tenor, which I really like. It's got a lot of mid-range, which should record very well, and we're going to find out about that here in a bit. But one of the things I want to do, this was a Ghost system by Graphtech that he was going to install in this, and it actually came with an onboard preamp and stuff, and I did not really want to start cutting holes and putting the preamp and wiring all that up, to be honest. So probably what I'm going to do, instead of leaving these in, is remove these saddles and replace just the saddles with something different. I'll put these back with the Ghost system. Maybe put the Ghost system as something else later, but just not this. And also, as a joke, he put this shim down here underneath the nut, which I don't like. It's a piece of purple heartwood, and I told him I didn't like purple heart, and he put that piece in there just to screw with me. Which, you know, I'm going to have to do something about the nut. I may leave the piece of purple heart, but I'm going to have to definitely do a little bit of setup work. It's a little bit high for my taste on the setup down here at the nut, so we'll fix that little bit of setup height. We'll come in and we'll adjust the height on the saddles when we replace the saddles. We'll go ahead and restring it and stuff too, and get it ready to do some demo recording. All of the strings in today's video will be supplied by D'Addario, and for the acoustic we're going to use these EJ16 B25s. So these are 12 to 53 gauge, and they're phosphor bronze, so that's what we're going to put on here. You can buy these bulk packets. Actually, this is the way I recommend buying strings, man. If you guys go through a lot of strings, this is definitely the way to do it. You save a lot of money just on a bulk. This is 25 sets here. I'll put links down in the description and a pinned comment if you want to go grab one of these up for yourself. Of course, they make them for the phosphor bronze. I've got some other ones over there for their electric sets and so forth. And we'll be changing strings on the electric as well and putting a set of those on the electric. Yeah, let's take these old ones off and then we'll get those on here. In newer versions of this acoustic, he actually has made these strings, you can string through the rear. So there's a panel on the back, I think, where you can string through through the back on the more recent ones that he's made. That was another thing that I told him would be a good idea. I don't know, he may have already thought of it as well, but I did tell him that I thought it would be a good upgrade over stringing through this way, because then you wouldn't have all the pressure on the bridge alone, which could, you know, eventually pop off at the top back here. He does have this this bridge actually secured though to the top. It's not just on here with the glue. There are actually bolts that go through. There's one here under here, you can't see it. There's a couple of bolts that do hold the bridge on, so that does help too. I'm not sure what I'm getting caught on here. What am I getting caught on? He might have glued this on. I think he did, so I'm gonna have to, yeah. It's got a little bit of glue to hold it down. You can see one of the screws here that's holding the bridge on. There's another one over here on this side. But you can kind of see, you know, when I zoom in a little closer here, what he's got going on. So he's got a hole down here to put the string through on the bottom, and then these are, of course, the adjustments for the saddles up here. And there's just a little lip that allows you to mount the saddles on top of that bridge. Really, just an ingenious bridge, if you ask me. I'm surprised that more acoustic makers don't do something like this, or haven't experimented with a bridge like this, you know, to make it easier to intonate everything, you know. Intonation's easier, height adjustments are easier. It's just, you know, it's easier to fine-tune everything too, all the individual strings individually. It's just seems like a way better way to go, really, overall. I mean, of course, you know, the old belly bridge, the Martin style belly bridges are a time-honored tradition and all that and everything, but you know, when you've got the opportunity to innovate and improve in some way, it seems like this to me is an improvement. Now, I don't know about this big piece of brass. he could have done this differently. The reason he did this is because he did not want the feet of these adjustments to be just on the bare wood, because he didn't want it to just grind into the wood over time. That's another thing that we talked about. I said, you know, the more that you adjust that up and down, you know, those screws are turning, they're kind of worming their way down into the wood, whether you like it or not. And over time, that would have a tendency to, especially with the downward pressure of the strings and everything, it would have a tendency to just eat its way into the wood. So that was definitely a fail point waiting to happen, and having this big piece of brass here was to prevent that. And of course, he's made it combed so that these leads for this ghost system could pass through, because these are piezoelectric, each one of these. But like I said, I won't use this anyway. You know, we did discuss that. I think at the time I told him, it's like, you know, if he wanted to do it, he can, and I really wasn't adamant about it being on there, and I think it was just something he wanted to try putting on, and he didn't really hook it all the way up, and I never got around to hooking it all the way up either, so it's not something I don't think I'm going to use, and I would rather just have some other saddles in here. I've got some saddles in mind I think I can put on this. Yeah, it's just kind of sitting in there. Yeah, I just had a little dab of super glue on that front edge. So there's the bridge without the brass piece and without any saddles at all. And we'll go ahead and, like I said, we'll get another set of saddles. Okay, so we got those saddles replaced, and now we're going to put some finish on this. Sean sent along this bottle of True Oil, and he put one coat on it, I think he said, back when he first sent this thing along. It's been 3 years ago. I thought it was a couple years, but it's actually been 3 full years ago. It's only had the one coat of this True Oil on it. So we're going to put 3 more coats on here, and it basically, you just rub it on, and then you have to wipe it between coats. They recommend using steel wool between coats, but I didn't have any steel wool at hand. I'd have to go get some, so use a scouring pad instead. So after the 3 coats, I wanted to do something about this pointy bit back here on the rear of the guitar. It kind of sticks out a bit, and it's, you know, pretty sharp if you hit your arm on it. So I wanted to knock that down a little bit. So I went ahead and took a rasp and some files and sandpaper and sanded all of that down to get that nice and smooth and round. Went ahead and replaced the nut as well with a new bone nut. The nut that he put on here was a plastic one, so we replaced that with bone, so it's going to sound better anyway. So yeah, man, just a few things I wanted to do to this to really get it in tip-top shape and really get it ready to play. This thing is ready to demo, but first, before we demo it, let's check out a second guitar that Sean sent me. Okay, the next Scarred guitar we're going to look at is one of their recent electrics that they've come out with. Sean has been building guitars from scratch in his garage workshop for years now and has a whole channel filled with such builds. But he also has a couple of models right now that he's designed in-house and had manufactured in Vietnam. One is an arch top, almost SG-inspired shape with pointy horns called the Reaper, and the other is this one. It's also an arch top with a flame maple cap, but this one is semi-hollow with not an F-hole, but an S-hole, he says. This one's called the Gauntlet, and this is one that he brought up to me recently when he came to visit, and I was glad to receive it. Here's a clip from that interaction. Oh, yeah. They ship with no switch tips, keep from breaking them?
Yeah, it's in the pocket there.
That's a good thing.
Kathy's pickups in it.
Wow, this thing is light.
Right, it's not.
This sucker is light. It has 2 strap buttons. Are you serious?
It's
Sean,
bro.
You stepping up in the world, brother. 2 strap buttons. Shit, I feel spoiled.
Is it flamey? Let's look at the
flame. It's flamey. Not only is it flamey, but man, it's slick. Okay, so here is the other Scarred guitar I wanted to show you guys, and check this thing out. So this has got a nice flame maple top on it. I love this color. It's like it's almost like a white blue jean kind of a color or something. It's got like shades of gray, blue in there. I forget what he calls this color, but it came equipped, this one did, with their custom in-house made pickups. These are made by by Sean's wife, Kathy. She does a really good job at these. These things sound phenomenal. She's got her own channel too. I'll put a link up here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen if you want to go check out her channel as well. Just a really nice guitar, dude. I mean, he's doing some good things here. I don't know exactly what the wood is on the fretboard. I forget. Not sure. I'll have to ask him. I love the headstock on it. This is everything is straight to the post. There's no. It's built kind of like a Fender, so there's no extreme break angle or anything like that to contend with, like you would have normally with a archtop style guitar, which would be a Gibson style guitar. But this one has the, more Fendery headstock. He's got locking tuners on this. It looks like I got serial number 10 right there, so that's a low serial number. They are having these made in Vietnam. But look at the neck on this, man. Look at the flame maple on this. So this is a satin poly finish, he said, on this neck. So that's what the finish is. But look at it. Check it out. Just really gorgeous neck. It feels awesome. Feels just awesome. And then, of course, it goes more into the paint on the body. But I love the contours of this thing. I love the way this is all sculpted. It just feels really nice down here. You can access all the frets really easily all the way up. Yeah, man, killer guitar. Sounds just as killer as it looks, and you'll see that here in just a second. We're going to give this thing a demo. I had to itch the whole time. So yeah, overall, these guitars that Sean is designing and building over at Scarred are fun and super different from your standard copies that everybody wants to make today. I mean, it's nothing like anything else you're going to see out there. The Acoustic especially is so radical and wild. I feel like it could be the future of acoustic guitar design, with some continued refinements perhaps. Sean and I spent actually a lot of time on the phone consulting when he was first designing it. So I feel like maybe I had a small hand in its development as well. I gave him a bunch of ideas and pointers, and we talked about it for quite a while on the phone back when he was doing these originally. So yeah, it's definitely something that feels special. It feels special to have one. It feels like I have a personal connection to its design and everything. So, but definitely check out Sean's channel. Thanks to Scarred My Guitar for giving me these guitars to review. And if you haven't subbed to his channel already, definitely go and sub his channel to check out some of his back catalog of guitar builds, which are just pretty incredible. But that'll do it. And for now, we'll see y'all. Fucking fly. But that'll do it, and fucking fly, dude. There's a fly in the room. We'll see y'all later.